I am number 1. I should be number 1.
Is this you? Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
No, this is me. Is this you?
That's me. That's me.
See, they're not the same numbers here.
A little bit up. Perfect.
Okay.
Muchas gracias.
How about Leilani is here to talk about the fact that she is seeing Donald Trump. No, not seeing him. She saw him. That's the difference.
Was seen with him.
She was seen with him.
Oh.
We're not quite sure what's going on. Leilani is going to clarify all of this.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned, because she's seen him. She saw him.
Inquiry
She's seen
minds
with
wanna
him.
know.
She's been seen with him. Something's going on.
This ought to be interesting in my circle.
They say, really? We didn't know.
Leilani, are you seeing Donald Trump?
Did you get to talk to him while you guys were at the rally?
No.
You didn't talk to him?
You had to be somebody to
We
talk.
So
did.
she
Oh, did you?
saw-
You were there too?
I shook his
Shook his
hand
hand.
and told him he's in the Bible. He's the last Trump in the Bible.
Oh, is that the deal?
And I got a picture of him.
I met him years ago.
Oh, did you? Under what circumstance? Your first date?
Yeah, in our first date.
In an airplane.
No, it was at one of his casinos.
Oh, really? Wow.
I was on a Fiesta Bowl, John, and we were at one of his casinos, and they always treated us very well.
Well, I remember Frank Thorwald told George and I that one thing that he noticed about Trump when he'd go on these things, he always went down, like they'd be at some big event, and he always went down and he would talk to the chauffeurs and the drivers and the service people. And he was very good about going down and thanking them and actually talking to them.
Did
For
you
somebody
read-
had all this
Have you
money.
read his biography?
No, I have not.
Oh, he was a hellraiser, and when he was young, and they put him in military school, and that helped him out for a while. But he's always been very impetuous.
You know what I thought was cool is the guy that led the Brexit.
Uh-huh.
I can't think of his name right now, but he kind of looks like Trump because he's got the same blonde hair.
Yeah.
They almost have the same hairdo. I thought that was interesting.
Not quite combed over. But did you notice it happened exactly as Trump said? Yeah, we'll have a couple of days where the stock market will fall out the bottom of it, but in a couple of days it'll level off, and it has.
And it did. It did.
Everything
Yeah.
he said about it has come true.
Mhm.
And that's why a lot of people don't know that, they say, oh, Hillary's ahead here, Hillary's ahead there. But Trump really hasn't really gone into the top gear yet. He's waiting until after the convention.
If he could come across like he did when he was in Scotland,
Uh-huh.
he would be fine.
Scotland.
Okay, so
When
Alice,
he,
I don't believe this.
let me...
was it Scotland? When Braxton was going on. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was in Scotland.
Well, he
was-
made a big speech.
He was very calm, very
So,
pointed.
Alice, you're going to tell us what's
was
trending in the
direct.
news, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
he had a teleprompter.
Alice,
But he was right on spot
yeah.
on everything.
And
what
he-
is trending in the news? Big news week, big news day. Big news.
But he wasn't
Alice?
quite
He
What
didn't come
is
out with
trending in the
outspoken.
news?
I
Well,
watched
here's the
it
latest
at
Trump
2
thing.
o'clock, 2
Donald
o'clock
Trump
in the morning.
Foundation. Trump bought Tim Tebow memorabilia with
Yeah,
charities'
I heard
money in
that.
2012.
What is
Paid
trending in the
$12,000 for a signed helmet
And he didn't have
from his
that.
own foundation.
news? And in Chismes y Habladores,
Very busy.
Hillary is still...
I think he's taking his training.
Hillary's still Satan. I love when you say that. Hillary is still Satan.
All he needs to do is a little college.
Ah! Dolly Parton endorses Hillary Clinton for president. Oh, Dolly, Dolly.
Dolly.
And she
Those-
finally lost her mind.
Those things are crushing your brain, too. Oh, I didn't say that.
You're- Oh, I was going to do something for the show. What was I going to do? I did it yesterday for Relaine and she laughed. What was I going to do? Oh, 2 minutes. We're 2 minutes away.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Hillary's very qualified, so if she gets it, I'll certainly be behind her.
Bill Cosby, comedians, lawyers ask judge to order accuser to repay settlement. Loretta Lynch is going to accept the recommendation. Oh. We should talk about that too. The commercial.
I got it. My left side isn't working.
What number are you?
I don't know.
Pull down and click radio stations. Vote for Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. Vote as many times as you like by July
Nothing on the
31st.
left side.
KFNX thanks you for your vote and your support.
Here we go.
It's time for the Chips and Salsa show. Chips and Salsa is...
We're going to listen to Jose Feliciano, right?
Could you put it down just a little bit?
Which one are you?
Big, small, conservative, liberal, we're all Latinos.
Even Chino Bandidos are Latino.
Get your walk on now with Alice Lara, George Ortiz,
That's not it.
Martin Gonzalez.
Amigos and Salsa.
And now, the Chip and Salsa Show.
Chips and salsa.
KFNX 1100 Independent Talk.
Amen.
Woo! Yeah!
Wow.
Best rendition ever.
I have never heard that rendition.
Come on,
of it.
Martin.
I've never heard it. That was beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm blown away. There's no words. Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Friday edition of the Chips and Salsa Show. Headline news, commentary, and Jose Feliciano from a decidedly conservative Latino perspective.
1968.
Today, is that when that was recorded? I think that's that when he performed it. Today is July 1st, however. It is the first day of the month and the first day of the second half of 2016.
Incredible, isn't it? We're halfway through the year.
6 months have ticked away. Tick, 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 tick. My name is Martin Gonzalez. In the studio, we lovingly refer to as El Molcajete, is the only woman who makes any sense in radio, America's Oracle, Alice Lara.
Thank you so much, Martin. Getting my guac on tonight, and so happy to be here on the eve of celebrating our 240th birthday. Big deal. It's a
We're
big
getting
deal.
old. It's starting to show.
Just poquito.
We're getting a little threadbare.
Yeah. Can't we survive?
And Don Jorge Ortiz.
Come on.
Scorpion King. Scorpion King.
I'm here, and I'm not in my secret location anymore.
And he's back after his Social Security birthday that he had last week,
Yep.
but he wasn't here.
Yep, by 65.
You have gone beyond active adult to senior citizen,
I know, that's so sad.
but not elderly.
But I feel so young.
Do you feel young?
Oh, yeah. I don't feel old.
Do you
I always
feel
thought
a certain age? Like in your mind, do you think I'm like 35 or?
I feel like I'm 35, 36. at least 40. I don't feel, because when I always thought about 60, I was like, oh, old people with a walker.
We don't
It's so different because you tend to be a little bit more wiser than when you were younger. You think of
Hopefully
things-
you are, yeah.
Well, you think of things a little bit better. You analyze things more, and I see young kids now, and it's just like, where are they coming from? What, who taught them this? I'm just like,
It is kind of cool, and to have lived through all that history, like you remember Jose Feliciano
Oh,
singing
yeah.
that for the
Oh,
first
yeah.
time, and it blew people away.
Is Jose Feliciano Puerto Rican?
Yes.
Yes.
George? Okay, so there you go. That's the Puerto Rican connection. George is always
Yeah.
bringing in that Puerto Rican connection. I love it.
we're all over the place.
We're all over the place. Hey, well, we have a very special show, a very special 4th of July weekend show for you tonight, and we invite you to be a part of it. Call 602-277-KFNX. That's 602-277-5369. Plus, call in now for your chance to win a $50 gift certificate to Rosita's Fine Mexican Food Restaurants. Our in-studio guest, Leilani Cortez, future and former Arizona candidate, treasurer of the Central Republican Women of Phoenix.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! And Leilani is seeing Donald Trump. No, wait, correction. She saw Donald Trump. See, that's how rumors get started.
Yeah, we'll have to ask her about that, huh?
She saw Donald Trump at a recent rally, and that's what we're going to talk about. Forget the other thing. If you can.
Yeah, have you stopped beating, like on the jury, have you stopped beating your wife?
Yeah, exactly. You're not beating your wife anymore, are you? And as much as I used to. Alice, what is trending in the news?
Well, I'm not beating my wife, but I just read. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Dolly, Dolly Parton, remember? Little chested person. Okay. She is endorsing Hillary. And I was making a joke about, some things were smothering her brain, but I won't make that joke on the air. Okay.
Okay, I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you did not go down that dirty path.
I just read that, and of course, Hillary, all this week, Benghazi, they had the Benghazi hearings, and they came and they announced that, we know what actually happened there. I actually wanted the Republicans to be a little stronger. I wanted Trey Gowdy to get more rowdy about it. I was a little disappointed when I saw that.
I like Trey Gowdy.
Yeah.
Do you know he and I share the same birthday?
Really? Do you?
August 22nd, yeah.
Is that right? Oh, your birthday's coming up this summer. We'll have to remember that one. Yeah. So that's happening, and this is the Phoenix connection. This week, Bill Clinton was in the area the same time as our Attorney General Loretta Lynch,
Scandalous.
and they met.
Where was Leilani?
Well, we'll have to ask her about
Where's she
that.
at?
Maybe she was in the plane with
She's
them.
everywhere.
She might have been. And of course, there's a big deal about really that shouldn't have happened, even if they were just discussing grandchildren. And we could talk about that.
But there has to be something. I mean, literally, Alice, Phoenix became ground zero for national controversy
Oh, yeah.
that this took place. This is the Attorney General of the United States meeting with Bill Clinton. Look, nothing's going to happen. Is she going to get convicted? Maybe. Is she going to go get sentenced? Maybe. Is she going to get pardoned by Barack Obama? Yeah. First of all, it doesn't even make any sense because do you know how long it takes to take somebody through a trial process? She could be in court for years, especially for something like this.
Well, I was listening to, I think it was Rush, and he had an interesting take on it. And he was saying that he thinks that they're setting us up for all this, and so that when things don't happen, we'll be depressed about it. Oh my gosh, And the other thing, if it were to happen, it won't happen because who will be the first witness on there? The president.
Yeah.
President Barack Obama.
Former President Barack Obama.
Right. Now, if
Because nothing's going to happen before the elections.
And if Trump gets elected, he has said, I will go after Hillary. It still boggles my mind. Crooked Hillary, excuse me. It still boggles my mind all the support this woman is still getting after all this come out. And then, of course, we have a horrible thing that happened in Istanbul.
Oh.
It's awful. They're still... Did you see the video on it? I couldn't even watch. I heard about the video. I didn't even want to watch that. And our other little highlight, the military has said, guess what? Transgender? Okay, come on in. And if it's deemed medically necessary that you need an operation, we get to pay for it. We'll pay for it too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm living in a whole different world.
The U.S. military lifts the ban on transgender.
Save us. A lot of prayers.
Transgender service. So, what we were talking about, what the significance of that, like, what if somebody wanted to have a gender reassignment surgery? Would the military pay for that?
As I understand it, what I read is if the doctor would say, yes, this person needs to have it, deems it medically necessary, then the military would be obligated to pay for it. Our government would be obligated to pay for it. And
But we can't get any care for our vets here in Phoenix.
nah, that's not an issue. So if it goes along the same ways, they'll never get their operation. So maybe we should be worried about it anyway.
Well, in our segment, Chismes y Habladores, Hillary is still Satan.
Bum, bum, bum.
So, you are listening to the Chips and Salsa Show right here on 1100 KFNX. Stay with us. We're going to be talking with Leilani Cortez. We have George who's going to do a comparison between Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump.
Wow.
And then we're going to talk about the Forgotten Amendment. Oh, you're going to have to stay tuned
Good
for
show.
that. Right here on 1100 KFNX.
All right, Miss Leilani, come on up here. Let's get you set up. So put those on and we'll adjust your... See, she should be number 2, Martin.
Okay. George, did I get you okay? Are you okay? Is this you? Who is this?
Are you number 2?
Is this anybody? Okay. Who's this?
That's mine.
Okay. Down. More.
Is it too loud for you? She should be number 2 if it's labeled.
It is, but it seems like it's labeled wrong.
Good.
Is that good?
It's good.
Alice, is this you?
That's me.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's fine.
okay. And I'm good. Okay. How did that sound? Did that sound good? Did that sound good?
Good. Noise is
You're
good.
watching the Chips and Salsa Show right here on 1100 KFNX.
This is behind the scenes.
And that's something we forget because we're always on. So the YouTube, so we have to kind of be careful what we say because we're on YouTube. So if you don't want
And then
anything to be
that's-
broadcast out there,
And that's live.
That's the
too,
warning.
constantly.
I'm sorry.
That's live. That doesn't
Yeah.
go off during commercial.
And we're also, they could go on the station and watch us on the web stream so they can see you and hear you too, right?
So that you can see the web. The web can see everybody.
And the light is
Who's on now? What's on
The
now?
web knows.
As long as that light's on, we're being.
Good thing we're being appropriate, huh?
And you're dressed up a little bit.
The federal government today is not like the federal government today is not likely to ask people to house children in their homes, even in time of war. Nevertheless, the
You know what they aren't doing?
has
They're not
some
playing our
sophistication.
Rosita's commercial. Remember how they used to play it?
suggests the individual
Have you heard it?
rights of domestic
We need to
rights,
remind him.
that people are protected from government intrusion into their homes, and it
You want
is
me to
the
remind
only
you?
part of the Constitution that directly deals
You want me
with
to
the
say
relationship
Well, we're coming back now.
between the rights of individuals and military and both peace and war. Rights
they're
that
playing it.
emphasize the importance of some
Oh.
legal scholars have even begun to argue
Usually they play the commercial and
that
they
the
bring us
amendment
back.
might be applied to the government response to terror attacks and issues involving the eminent domain. Third Amendment helps. Our founding father.
This guy has a great show. Joe Walsh. It's a good show.
Yeah.
I listened to him today.
It's a good show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Passionate. You can certainly listen to us every Friday night at 8 p.m. here, the Chips and Salsa Show on KFNX 1100 Independent Talk. I'm Alice Lara in the Molcajete. With me are my other two co-hosts, Mr. Martin Chilibin Gonzalez.
Hello there.
Gogo Gonzalez, and also the Alacran, George Ortiz.
Yes, sir.
Orale Ortiz, Jorge Ortiz. We're going to get to our great guest in just a moment. I want to remind you, though, if you have not been to Rosita's Fine Mexican Food and you want to go there and actually get $50 gift certificate to go there, call in 602-277-5369. That's 602-277-5369. Josh, our technical director, he is waiting to talk to you. He's lonely back there, aren't you, Josh? So lonely. Talk to him and give him your phone number, and we'll call you after the show and get you all set up, get that certificate out to you. Maybe you might want to talk to us. You might want to talk to us about anything here on the show, especially our next guest. Maybe go to Facebook, see all the topics we have on there. In fact, we are 1,200 plus now on our Facebook. That's a Chips and Salsa Show.
Thank you to our listeners.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate your sponsorship and your support very much. So let's talk to our wonderful guest here, my very good friend. And by the way, this segment is brought to you by Central Republican Women of Phoenix. And I have a fantastic guest and co-member here, Leilani Cortez.
Thank you, Alice.
Thank you so much for coming in the studio. Let me tell you a little bit about Leilani. She is the treasurer for Central Republican Women of Phoenix. And as some of you know, I was president last year. She was a treasurer last year, too. Boy, you're a glutton for punishment, aren't you? And we've got this great club. Just for a little background, the National Federation of Republican Women, it's national. Under that umbrella, each state has a federation. So we have the Arizona Federation of Republican Women. Within the state of Arizona, in other states, there are several different clubs, and ours is Central Republican Women of Phoenix. In fact, George is an associate member as well. Thank you, George.
Quacker.
He's a quacker.
You have men in the organization?
Yes,
They're
absolutely.
quacks.
They're quacks. Call them quacks.
Yeah.
So Leilani has come on to talk to us about a lot of things. And we could talk about Trump in just a second, but I do want to go ahead and promote, because the segment is brought to by our club. We're going to have a really fantastic meeting next Thursday evening, aren't we, Leilani?
Yes, we are.
So tell us about something, and this is all because Leilani did this. She's the one who's responsible for this fantastic guest we're having. Tell us what's going to happen.
Well, we're going to have a gentleman there. His name is retired Colonel Joe Ryland. He's a fantastic Southern gentleman. And the first time I saw Joe was at a banquet, and here he walked in his uniform. It was a 1776 uniform.
Wow.
And he walks up to a flag, and he starts giving this wonderful tribute to the flag. And it just gave me goosebumps. So when we were looking for somebody to come in for a meeting this week, and it's summertime, so I gave Joe a call and said, "Hey, Joe, can you come and do that and give people their goosebumps like you did for me?" And he said, "It's for you, I'll do it."
Oh, it's so fantastic. In fact, on our Facebook page, the Central Republican Women of Phoenix, we'll have to put it up on the Chips and Salsa Facebook page, too. He gets all dressed up, all gussied up. So if you would like to come to our meeting, you can, and you can take a photo op with him. We have a full dinner. It's $30 a person. It's only $30. We have good food, though.
Yep.
And it's a wonderful venue at the Phoenix Hilton Suites, and that's Central and Thomas, 10
Right.
East Thomas, right? That's
Right.
the address. And you can make reservations. Just email reservations@crwop.org, or go to our Facebook page and get the information. He will take some photo ops, right?
Yes, he will. Yeah, and he is quite the Southern gentleman, and he's got the Southern charm about him, just like his wife, and she's also a retired lieutenant colonel. So
Oh, really? And
they
she's
have-
going to be there, too.
She's going to be there as well. I've known Katie and Joe for about 10 years now.
Oh, how cool is that? And that's just a really fantastic way to continue the 240th celebration of the birthday of our country.
You know, I think we've lost that piece of history. I was talking to some young people the other day, and they go, "I don't like to look back." And I go, "How can you not look back? You're going to lose history."
That's why we're here.
They rather forget it, and that the bad things you're going to do again, and the good things you're going to forget. And I think that's the problem we're having today.
I agree. And in addition to that, we are going to read the Declaration of Independence. And Susan Marcel, who is the state treasurer and also in our club, she is going to tell us all about the signers. Very interesting things that happened to them, where they came from. It's going to be a really great meeting. We were going to have our president, Lorraine Pellegrino, but she's got to be gone for some training, so we'll have her again in the future. But I'm so thankful that he's going to be here. You can go to our website too, crwop.org, and you can check things out as well. And feel free to call if you want to call here, and even leave your name when you win that gift certificate, and you want information about that. I'll call you back and give you information. Now, Leilani, I want to talk a little bit about you as well. You'll be there, and I'll be there. George can't be there. You have training too, but Martin might go too. Martin might be taking his wife Elaine.
Yes.
Well, I hope you can make it. It's
Date
really
night.
fantastic. Yeah,
Hey, that could qualify.
Woohoo!
it's a great date night, and we have happy hour afterwards too. We
Okay.
usually go
And you can do a photo op.
Yeah. Right. We'll put on the Chips and Salsa Facebook site. Now, Leilani, you have run for office here in the state of Arizona, but one of the really cool things, and you're going to run in the future, aren't you? Have you decided what you're running for?
I'm in negotiations talking about it now.
Oh, okay. Well, you have to keep us posted so we can have you back about that. But I know that you and George did something really cool last Saturday. I'm going to bring George in here a little bit. You were at the Trump rally.
Actually, I got there about 8 in the morning.
Right. I was there like around that same
Yeah.
time, because I was doing the VIP check-ins and press credentials. I was making sure everybody that entered was safe.
You know, it didn't seem, I thought there'd be more people. Do you think it was the heat that didn't bring out the,
I think a lot
kept
of
that way?
people didn't want to stand out in the line. They thought maybe they'd have to stand out in the line. Even though they brought him in fairly fast enough, it was just some had to stand out because of the security. They had to go through Secret Service. Now that has Secret Service
Protection.
protection, it has to go through a certain Secret Service protocol, which before you can enter, you have to go through magnetometers, and it takes a little while because you have to empty your pockets, and then you're scanned with the
wand.
The wand, and it takes a little time. And the Secret Service is really, really very serious about when we do a magnetometer at the University of Phoenix. I do security for Phoenix. It's almost the same thing, but we're not as strict as the Secret Service. The Secret Service has a level a little bit higher, and they take everything very, very seriously.
Well, then I'm
And we do
surprised
too.
you got a good crowd then if you had to go through all that.
Actually, it was pretty good. In the beginning, because they opened it up at about 2 o'clock and he didn't
Yeah.
start until 4, I was going, oh my gosh, there's hardly anybody here. But as it got closer to the time,
Yeah.
there was a pretty good crowd there closer to it.
I wanted to ask you, Leilani, because I think I was a cruise person, and I don't know who you supported, but I don't think Trump was your first choice,
No,
was he?
Trump was not I was a Rubio person.
Rubio?
to Start out with. But, I think once we decided on who our candidate was going to be, the presumptive candidate, I think we need to get behind him. I don't like all this nonsense where they're looking, because otherwise we're going to have Hillary in there.
Exactly.
So we have to really go out there and talk to people, and I'm talking to them every day now.
Yeah, our party needs to unite behind our presumptive nominee, who will be Trump. And I'm going to the convention. Are you? Yeah.
No, I'm not going to the
I'm
convention.
going to the convention, and I expect it to be a very good convention, and I expect everybody to get behind Trump. I think our party we need to survive that way. We can't fight amongst ourselves, and this infighting, that I see, it's got to stop. And
One of
just
the-
like you said,
One of the things that happened last week, I know George will announce that he's no longer in the Republican Party. And there are a lot of people, I will not vote for Trump under any circumstances. Well, I just don't see how you can help Hillary become the next president.
that would be the worst thing our country has ever had if Hillary becomes president. And I know it because of the lies that she's done, the Benghazi thing, the emails, and her past, and how she's she's been an enabler to the to a woman.
You are absolutely right. And in fact, at the AZFRW meeting from last week, that's our state meeting we had in Prescott, Congressman Gosar got up there, and he told us, he says, she will be worse than Obama.
Oh yeah.
He told us that.
And he might be behind this, trying to run the country behind Hillary.
Through Hillary.
Yeah. Leilani, thank you very much. And you might want to hang around for the next segment. You can take part in the rest of the discussion. We have plenty of stuff to talk about. You're kind of an honorary Latina because you were married to a Latino, rather not a Latina. Here you go. But stay tuned for more of the Chips and Salsa show here on KFNX 1100 Independent Talk with Alice, George, and Martin, and more of Leilani Cortez.
My brother-in-law is past tribal president for the Fort McDowell Indian tribe as well.
Oh, really?
Yep, David King.
That's interesting. Might be an interesting guest to talk to. Okay,
They're very much behind Trump, believe it or not.
Well, you know, who did we have in here with Edna? Lee? George, and we got to get Lee to be on our show, too.
Who?
Lee, Edna's guy from the reservation. And very conservative. There's a lot of conservative Native Americans. Absolutely.
I think the biggest issue is that we're getting the activist view, not the people's view.
Yes.
It's just one of the things that I found when I was running for office, when I actually went down and talked to the Mexican people. They didn't want the illegals because the illegals are taking their jobs. They're taking the bread off of their table. And that was kind of an eye-opener for me. And as I'm looking at it, And when I was working at the city of Phoenix, you'd see all the rallies that they had, protests. There were maybe 100 people, but they had it so tightly in it, so it looked like there was thousands of people.
They're professionals.
Yeah. So it's like, it's a few activists that are causing the majority of the issues.
Yeah.
Well, you see the polls that they have, and the good poll, Rasmussen, or which one? You know, they have her ahead. But you look at the polls that actually have, been accurate. Bloomberg, Rasmussen, and I think
right now I heard it's tight on those polls.
But see, I think the news media and the pollsters, they take it and they screw it towards Hillary, and you say it enough times, people start doing it. And that's what
and quite frankly, I think the media itself is running our elections.
Yeah, that's why he calls them liars.
Yeah.
He points at them.
I love, if he just had a little bit more polish, he'd be great. But he needs to have a little bit of polish on. And I think his new campaign chairman might be working on that.
I think they are.
I was really impressed when he was out over in Scotland talking. Now, if he could talk like that all the time, he was focused, he was straight on. But
maybe it's the general progression of things because he came in and he talked rough, but he got connected with people.
You know what?
So maybe
I would
it's
rather
better
have
and smoother.
that rough because I know where he's at, rather than somebody that will just tell you what they want to hear versus what they feel.
That's been his attraction. You're right. Right. That's been his attraction.
I don't have a problem with it, being the quiet person that I am.
So you're going to bring it in, George, and you're going to give it to me, and I'll do the quick Deos thing.
And then George is going to do the comparison.
Right on. And they're going to bring you in with a Latino song. Martin, I was mentioning to George that I'm not hearing our Rosita's ad on the shows anymore. The last couple ones that I got to listen to. So we'll have to remind them.
Do you want one of us to go with him? Do you want one of us to
No,
go with him?
I don't know that he runs them or they're already set up to run. It's okay. I could ask him. You could talk to him from there. Don't you have a button you can talk to him?
Probably, but I don't know which one it is. There's lots of buttons here.
Yeah. I was thinking there was one you could use.
Microphone control, off, on. I guess it's this one. Oh. Don't do that. Do that. I just pressed a button. He goes, don't do that. Sorry.
Which one did I just use?
Which one did you use?
Oh, we're coming back.
We're coming back.
And welcome back to the Chips and Salsa show with our great host, Alice Lara,
Hola, George. Getting my guac on tonight.
and Martin Jalabin.
Martín Chistotzin, el primer comediante de los Aztecas.
The voice that never stops.
And
Oh, bad. Un Latino.
One Latino. One radio show.
and yours truly, Jorge, known to many as El Alacran,
The Scorpion King.
Scorpion King, Scorpion King.
And-
Or George of the
and
Jungle.
the S from the barrio,
Orale Ortiz.
and the crazy Puerto Rican.
Boricua.
Boricua, yeah. I've got a lot of family members moving out here. It's crazy.
You know what? You need to remind people, too, that when during the commercial next time, you need to stand up and show all your Trump paraphernalia you have on this evening.
Oh yes, see, I got the shirt. And anyway,
George is covered literally head to toe in Trump. He's got Trump buttons. He's got a Trump T-shirt. Even his undies are from Trump. Head to toe, Trump shoes, Trump everything.
They just say rump, though. They left off the T.
He's got a Trump rump.
It's around the corner.
It's around the corner, yeah.
I'm a diehard supporter of Trump now.
Trump.
He is our presumptive nominee, and he will be the representing the Republican Party, and we will unite against Mr. Trump. And Mr. Trump will be another, I'm saying, Ronald Reagan. And I say that because, well, one thing first, we're on YouTube. To go on YouTube, go to Sonia Salsa S, and that you'll watch us live on YouTube. We're also on KFNX, their live feed. If you go to KFNX website, you can watch us live. What I wanted to compare is Ronald Reagan to Donald Trump. First, Ronald Reagan was mocked and not considered to be a serious candidate before winning the presidency. Donald Trump, exactly the same. Ronald Reagan was a TV celebrity before running for office. Donald Trump was exactly a TV celebrity before running for office. Was a Democrat before switching to Republican. Ronald Reagan was, and Donald Trump was. There's nothing wrong with that. I was a Democrat before switching to Republican.
I was a Democrat,
and,
too.
And that was for
No.
20
See.
some odd years.
I've always been a Republican.
Oh, God bless you.
Me too.
Well,
Also, on
High five.
Ronald Reagan used "Make America Great Again" as his campaign slogan, and guess who's using that slogan? Donald Trump. He was attacked by a protester at the podium during a speech. So was Donald Trump. He used straight talk and humor to communicate with supporters. So does Donald Trump. And Donald Trump speaks from his heart. I don't care what bad things you say about him, Donald Trump tells you the truth. He says we need to secure the borders. He was the first candidate that started talking about that. He said we needed to build a wall. After he said it, the other candidates started talking about it. It became an issue. Ronald Reagan became the oldest president elected. So will Donald Trump. The first president that had a divorce, Donald Trump would be the second president that had a divorce. Ronald Reagan succeeded a Democratic president. Donald Trump will succeed a Democratic president. He was pro-immigration, but strongly against illegal immigration. And we know that Donald Trump is the same. He's pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, and pro-tax reduction, and so is Donald Trump. And initially considered to not be a true conservative by the establishment, but increased the GOP voter turnout and became a Republican Party icon and beloved president. And I predict, and measure these words, I predict that Donald Trump will be the same way. People will realize that they elected a true conservative and a true Republican when this is all over, and he'll be an icon. And back to our guest, Liani. Let's say you. Oh.
well, go ahead. Well, I would just want to tell you, though, before you finish off there, that's really an impressive list. Did you come up with that all by yourself?
No, this was on I got the. Somebody else brought this up, but
But I hadn't seen that before. Had you, Martin? I had seen
No,
that
I
before.
think that's
Yeah,
brilliant.
I mean, a
I've
couple
seen
of those
it.
things, I thought that's right. All
And
those
actually,
things are true.
we've been talking about that. How Ronald Reagan was an entertainer, and so was
Mhm.
Donald Trump. And
Yeah.
they mocked him for it. Hillary was mocking Donald Trump for being an entertainer, and Jimmy Carter mocked
Yeah.
Reagan.
And that's our guest, Leilani Cortez, who stayed
and
with us for
and
this segment.
if you look at Abraham Lincoln, when he did some speeches, Donald Trump and Abraham Lincoln are about the same when they do speeches, except Abraham Lincoln was talking about the slaves, and Donald Trump talks, it's a different time, but
Different
there-
slaves now, too.
different slaves.
American
But,
people.
But a lot of,
Yeah.
and we were talking about earlier, a lot of Hispanics and Latinos believe what Trump says about illegal immigration because they're so proud to have become legal immigrants the legal way that they agree with him about illegal immigration.
Well, they worked hard to become.
Exactly.
They worked hard to learn our language. They want to assimilate into our. My husband, when his family, half of it was on one side of the border, the other half was on the other side of the border. But his mom made them speak English all the time. She says, "You're American. You're going to speak American. You're not going to speak Spanish."
I think you're right. That's the difference in assimilation and your wanting to be American. That America first. And it's fine. I mean, we have the nice little bonus. We can keep our culture. There's a lot of cool things about our culture, the past heritage that we're from. But we are an American first.
You know, we talked about my running for office last time, and one of the interesting things that I found when I went down into the southern part of my district, I thought that I was going to hear a lot of grief about, I should be behind illegal immigration. And quite frankly, it was the opposite, because what the people were saying is the illegal immigrants are taking the bread off of our table because they're paid under the table, they're not paid as much, I can't work, they're taking my job.
And that was a predominantly Latino district.
It was in South Phoenix.
Yeah.
And you see so many of them at these protests holding the Mexican flag. It's, I believe, I'm Puerto Rican. I love my flag, the Puerto Rican flag, but I honor the U.S. flag over any other flag because I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm in the United States. If I'm in Puerto Rico and I'm, honoring our country, I'll hold up the Puerto Rican flag with honor. But in the United States, you're a United States citizen. The flag that you're behind is the United States flag. And for them to hold up these flags, it's crazy. At the Trump rally, I saw the Russian flag with the arm and sickle. Somebody had that red
Somebody
flag
had a
in the
Russian
corner.
flag there.
Yeah, the communist flag. I guess that's what it is, the communist flag. They at one corner, somebody was holding that up, and that's so stupid. We're in the United States. You may protest Trump, but if you can't live in the country and honor the flag you're under, then you don't belong in this country. It's just, it doesn't make no sense.
One of the things that I heard somebody say at the rally was, and they were immigrants, and they said, if I wanted what was happening in my country, I wouldn't have come here.
Yeah.
That's why I raised the American flag.
Yeah,
and
why leave?
Yeah.
And in Mexico they have the unions. It's a different type of government, and I think people look at that and try to compare that to our country, but we're a country of. They got to believe in the Constitution, and they got to follow our Constitution, and they'll understand that if you want to be in our country legally, you have to understand the Constitution, why it was written. It was written for a lot of foreigners to come together and become one.
You know what I don't understand is this measles outbreak.
The Zika virus? Or
No,
the
the
measles.
That happened down in a detention center. That
Yeah.
came across the border, and now we're starting to suffer from
Yeah.
it. We're up to about 20 or 30 cases now
And
of measles.
that alone should put us on alert that
And that's not
bring
anything new
immigrants
even
in.
because tuberculosis, we had obliterated a lot of things and they're
Right.
coming back all of a
Because
sudden.
they don't get vaccinated and
Bed
stuff.
bugs as
properly.
well.
They're not, but it's okay. Just let the border be open
But
and
we-
anybody can come through. Yeah,
We
that's no
are
problem.
coming to a close for this section of the Chips and Salsa show, and stay tuned for our final segment and with our guest and
Call him for that gift
Martin.
certificate too.
So yeah, call for the gift certificates.
We'll be back with more of the Chips and Salsa show. You didn't give it to me for the sponsorship.
Huh?
The sponsorship.
Oh, I
So
thought
could
you
you
were gonna bring that in.
could you give it to me
Oh,
for this last
okay.
segment so I could read the sponsorship?
Oh, for
'Cause
the
I didn't get to do Theos
yeah, do
Landscaping.
it. Yeah.
I mean, if you want, I can bring it in. I'll mention the sponsorship and this the certificate
That'd be
again,
great.
and then you can do your last segment.
That'd be great.
And
I
now
can't
this
believe that they haven't brought that up.
constitutional
about
minute.
them, I was thinking about that last week, in fact,
Mhm.
because it came on the news, and I was saying the polio. I mean, not polio, but that
Kimi.
was it
Charles,
The measles.
your last name is
The
pronounced
measles.
Kimi.
Kimi,
and
yes.
it's coming
Kimi.
from the detention
Yeah.
center. And they should have brought that up. They should say, they should make a big issue
Rosita's
about
opened in
it, because we're going to
1963.
get
Rosa
sicknesses
Kimi.
like that
There really
because
is
these
a
people
Rosita.
aren't being
Rosa Kimi.
vaccinated.
Open their
properly in
doors
their
on
country.
Fifth Street and back.
And then they're coming over here. The other thing I heard just
Pooled
before
their
coming over
resources
here,
to help out, and on
they just
opening
arrested
day, for first
this illegal
customers
for the
dying
murder of 3
at-
people.
on a total
And he was
of 4
deported 3
tables,
different times.
one of which was her own dinette
And he's now
set.
murdered 3 people.
Although lacking in glamour, it still
And what is
much-
the Syrians going to bring? What
still
kind of
had-
sicknesses? What kind of
This isn't written right.
nations that they haven't gotten that we're going to end up
I'm
giving?
not going to read it.
That's another thing. I mean, it's just crazy.
And it's after generations of Kimis and many second and third generation members of employees' families, the tables have changed, but Rosita still serves the best authentic Mexican food in the world.
We used to go there a long time ago.
Hmm?
We used to go there a long time ago.
Yeah, they've been there since
forever.
1963.
Mhm.
Since 1863.
Since
Stretch it out.
1763.
1535.
Since 1429.
1492. She came over with Christopher Columbus.
And before that, Caesar was there.
She was serving dinner to the members of the Magna Carta.
When the Aztecs traveled up north.
Long
Poor
ago,
Rosita.
Rosa Kimi,
Oh.
a young 19-year-old Rosa Kimi, opened her first restaurant to a bunch of Aztecs in Egypt. Rosa Kimi served enchiladas to Moses.
Nobody knew what enchilada was.
Rosa
But now you
introduced them
do.
to the Israelites.
Did you see my Facebook with my nephew and
No.
getting his bar mitzvah?
No.
over in
I have to
Israel.
check it out. Oh, how cool is that?
And 3 generations.
Oh, okay. Coming back.
Okay.
So, Alice, you're bringing it in. Adele Walmsley. Walmsley.
That's her.
I don't know about you, but I never get tired of hearing those intros. I think they're so cool. This is the Chips and Salsa Show. I'm Alice Lara. We're here every Friday night at 8 p.m. in the Molcajete. And Martin Gonzalez is here.
Hello there.
And Jorge Ortiz George is here.
Estoy aquí.
And we have a special guest, Leilani Cortez, joining us
Hello.
too. She's finishing out the segment with us. And please, if you haven't called in yet, call in to win the Rositas gift certificate at 602-277-5369. That's 602-277-5369. $50. Leave your name and number with Josh. If you want to ask us a question in our last segment, please feel free to. Stay tuned because we have a really special constitutional segment. But I want to introduce to you, I'm so excited. We have a new sponsor for this segment of the show, and it is Theos Landscaping. I want to let you know, are you tired of looking for a landscaper you can trust? I want to tell you about Theos, that's Tello Landscapes. We finally got the backyard we always wanted and recently added beautiful pavers to widen our driveway. You can trust Theos because you deal personally with the owner, Jose Theo. Theos Landscapes can take care of your regular yard maintenance as well as your professional hardscape design. Call Jose today for a free estimate at 480-309-5182. That's Theos, and that's spelled Tello, Landscapes, 480-309-5182. Jose is a great guy. I hope if you have any needs, give him a call, free estimate. I guarantee you will not be disappointed.
Ooh, I'll need that number.
Okay, good. I'm going to give this to Leilani.
Yeah.
Right on. All right. I'm going to toss it over to Martin Gogo Gonzalez because he's got a really cool idea that he pitched to the show. And we said, you know what? Go ahead, let's do it because we are coming up on Independence Day.
That's right. It's the eve of this Independence Day, right?
That's right.
We're talking about 1776. We're talking about the 4th of July. Hey, here's an interesting connection between the United States and Britain. 20 years ago, on this date, July 1st, British Airways started their first non-stop flights from Phoenix to London.
Wow.
What do you know about that? Anyway, we're going to talk about the Forgotten Amendment, but first I have a question for you. How American are you? I saw this in USA Today, and it was a poll. This was an online poll, and I have to take my glasses off because I can't read
Don't you hate when that happens?
But it's an online poll conducted June 27th through the 29th, and it's a sample of 2,000 adults. And they were asked the following questions. First one, in the United States, what is the supreme law of the land? Here are your choices, guys. The Articles of Confederation, the Emancipation Proclamation, the Declaration of Independence, or the Constitution? What percentage do you think said the Constitution?
I hope that 90% said the Constitution.
84%. Pretty good.
Oh,
That's
okay.
pretty
That's
good,
not
though.
bad. Yeah, that's not bad.
Here's one. In America, what do we call the first 10 amendments of the Constitution? The Magna Carta, the Voting Rights Act, the Declaration of Independence, or the Bill of Rights?
Bill of Rights.
The Bill of Rights, and how many said that?
How many said that?
You know what? Fewer are going to know that. Fewer people know that. I'm going to say 65%. said
George?
I say 43%.
Leilani?
75.
79%.
No.
Ooh.
Well, I'm impressed it's higher. Okay, and
One
you're
more.
talking to just regular citizens?
Regular
Adults.
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 Pretty broad in
Okay.
scope there. Okay, one more. What is the economic system of the United States? Digital economy, socialist economy, natural economy, or capitalistic economy?
Capitalistic.
I think today we're closer to the socialistic.
Yeah, well,
We
only
want to go back to the capitalistic.
only 75% said it was a capitalistic economy.
Oh, bummer, dude.
So that's crazy.
Bummer, dude.
Okay.
A few young kids must have snuck in on that one.
Yeah.
So we're going to, you would think that this being the 4th of July, we might talk about the First Amendment. Or you might think of it, because I am a pro-gun rights advocate, that we might be talking about the Second Amendment, one of my favorite amendments in the whole wide world. However, we're going to be talking about the Forgotten Amendment. And what we're talking about is the Third Amendment. Think in your mind, what is the Third Amendment? Which one is that? It's sandwiched between the second and the fourth. What is it? It's the quartering of soldiers, passed in Congress September 25th, 1789, and ratified in December of 1791, so 2 years later. No soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Now, does that have any relevance or significance in what's happening today? I mean, the federal government today is not likely to ask people to house soldiers in their homes, even in time of war. Nevertheless, the amendment has some modern implications. It suggests the individual's right of domestic privacy, that people are protected from government intrusion into their homes, and it is the only part of the Constitution that deals directly with the relationship between the rights of individuals and the military in both peace and war. Rights that emphasize the importance of civilian control over the armed forces. Some legal scholars have even begun to argue that the amendment might be applied to the government's response to terror attacks and natural disasters, and to issues involving eminent domain and the militarization of the police. Relevant? What do you guys say?
Absolutely relevant.
They say the Loretta Lynch came in to Phoenix because they're trying to militarize the police forces across the nation.
She spoke to our police department,
Yeah.
right, George?
And they
Yeah,
said
she was-
that's one of the things they want to militarize and put them under federal control.
That's why this is so important. The Third Amendment helps to protect the privacy of American citizens and safeguards homes from military intrusion. The right to keep the government out of our homes is an important safeguard against government abuse, and it also reinforces the principle that civilian authority is superior to the military. History clearly shows that citizens of military dictatorships are rarely free. Subordinating the military to elected officials is vital.
Now say
It's
that
vital.
line again. It was
Which
such
one?
a good line. Civilian authority is superior to military authority. Is that what you read?
It reinforces the principle that civilian authority is superior to military authority. Look what happened to Venezuela. Okay,
Yeah.
so we don't want that in here in the United States. The Third Amendment is very important. We must remember that governments have a tendency to seek more and more control. Sound familiar? Especially in the wake of catastrophes and natural disasters. Many see the federal government's response to tragic events such as 9/11 or the Hurricane Katrina as evidence that the United States is approaching a police state that wouldn't hesitate to declare martial law. And we see, with the terrorism acts, we're a hair away from that.
Yep.
With the increased military presence, we must be particularly vigilant about protecting our rights afforded by the Third Amendment as well as the rest of the Bill of Rights. And finally, the Third Amendment no longer will be the forgotten amendment. You're going to remember it now. If it is considered anything, it should be considered interlocked with the Fourth Amendment because it provides a check on some domestic mass surveillance intruding on civil life, particularly within the home, business, and curtilage, which is a legal term having to do with property. In the digital era, the dual process of the amendment should be understood to potentially limit the reach of cyber soldiers and protect the enjoyment of private tenancy without governmental incursion, and by extension, the First Amendment is there as well. So there you go. There's our...
But you know what's really scary? If you look at our smartphones and our smart TVs, they can already come in our home.
Absolutely.
And now they have refrigerators that cameras can go into, so it's like, what's next?
The NSA controls that. The NSA is military. They are a military organization. So this is why the Third Amendment is so important. It's not to be forgotten.
And
It's not something that just has to do with the quartering of soldiers.
And when you say that, you know, for the younger audience, when you say quartering of soldiers, they need to understand that you don't mean chopping them up.
Well, quartering kind of four quarters. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
What's
but it had to,
interesting-
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, what's interesting is we talked about in show prep. Oh, it's already over. Gosh. We couldn't remember what the Third Amendment was. How embarrassing, right? But no one talks about it anymore.
No.
I want to give a quick mention. Please, Thursday night, if you'd like to join us at crwop.org, and just be there because it's going to be a great, great meeting. Thank you very much.
What
Come
about
and see-
Saturday?
Our show's on Saturday, Central City Radio, and listen to centralcityradio.com. George and I will be there. We'll be interviewing Jana Jackson, who's running for Maricopa County Superintendent.
So this 4th of July, think of the Third Amendment. You're listening to the
Really.
Chips and
And your
Salsa Show.
freedoms.
That's right,
And
right
your
here,
freedoms.
right here in your freedom on the Chips and Salsa Show, 1100 KFNX. Be sure to come back next Friday at 8 p.m. We'll be here, and you can only imagine what we're going to talk about.
Happy
Thank
4th of
you
July.
so much.
Informative and, just, hey, can
But it's
you,
so, looking at
I
that
had
Third
a
Amendment,
question.
that's scary.
Can we
People to get active, like to
Yes,
yeah, politically, like go to Tea Party meetings or
Absolutely.
yeah. Okay. And
that would help you a
even do
lot.
demonstrations if they didn't like it.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if we could encourage people.
What's good about it is you get tea parties to start listening, approach the tea party meetings, introduce yourselves, and mention those meetings. And mention those meetings on your show, and you'll get more listeners from the tea parties. And the more you attend, because we did that with Radio Longmont, and we had a lot of tea parties listening to us. And we spoke about the chairman, the people heading the tea parties.
Well,
We had a big.
I can interview from Tea Party chairman because he did t-shirts.
We,
I can feel better when they
what we did is we made it a thing.
That segment sound long because I timed it so that we would end it and then have a little comment. But did it sound okay? I was reading it.
We had
Yeah.
another show called the Radio Orwell Show. It was on KFN. Oh, it was 960 Patriot.
I'm sure the Patriot, yeah, I listened to
And we went from 1 hour to 2 hours, and it was like, it was a really popular show.
Yeah. I heard something about that as well.
You have to register for ammo or something?
Well, there was like 20 bills. They flooded his desk. There was like a bunch of bills that they had him sign that they were all.
Sound comes through the microphone for it. Actually through the studio. So when we play that YouTube thing, the CD doesn't start until right when that gets over. Because it just doesn't register anything going through. It's set up because that way when we're editing stuff, it doesn't record it over people's stuff.
Did you get a winner for us?
I didn't grab that today. Yeah, we got 2 people called in.
I like that. And so this 4th of July, remember the Third Amendment.
This was fun. Thank you.
Lillian, thank you.
This was great.
You come again.
And your show is tomorrow, you say?
Tomorrow at 11 a.m. to noon. And
Very good.
yeah, God and country.
Yeah, 2 callers.
Love it. What are you guys going to talk about?
Well, I'm going to talk
Besides the
about
obvious, there is in your title.
that comes from how the Democrats have always tried to get rid of God in our country, and how we need to make sure that God is who is central in our country, and the worship of God, and it's not just the Christian God either. It's all the efforts that are included in that God thing, because they all teach the same thing. And that today in our society, instead of worshiping the one true God of the Spirit, of love that raises our spirits, the meditation of prayer to the highest levels of joy and brotherhood and sisterhood and oneness in the light. And that's why we're called the shining city on the hill. We are now worshiping the 7 deadly sins. So I'm not pride is the human mind, not having the need in humility with God. Greed is all my desires and material things. It's all finite stuff. You get it, it goes away. It doesn't give you that eternal joy. They still have that flock, the worship of the one true God does.
Red, yellow, flyer.
Is an ecstasy.
Did I tell you that
And
years
has
ago,
nothing.
when I was
And
in
we
school,
are
my
selling
dad
our souls for
yeah.
a buck or two.
and
You know,
we
we
listened to
to
the
get these things. Anger has come up in our society
House
so
and
much,
Senate
especially for
when they were on the floor,
anger at
and
everything.
then we go to Stockyard.
The God of anger. That up from our
Yeah.
Everybody
And a lot of them
worships
were
food
to
instead
Durant,
of
and a
just,
lot of the
pulling back, fasting,
then we
praying,
go over there,
meditating,
and they
coming
fight
into
on the
that
floor like they
higher
do today.
consciousness
But
that
when they
we
get out and have a
need
few
these
cocktails, that's
joy all the time.
That's when they
turn. You could care
Yeah.
less about these
visualize. You said it.
and these
That's right.
gluttony sloths.
Yeah, I think she'd like to meet success. I love that parable of maybe upon your life is those talent can be also literal. The talent that we have, like, well, have a great show tomorrow. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Beautiful.
One thing I got running out of after running for obvious, I was able to smile on command. I could have made my smile.
Yeah. You learn. I remember when
Before I
I
couldn't do that.
yeah. You practice the smile and then it becomes muscle memory at that point.
So you want to listen now?
No, I haven't.